Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Glad you could join me here today on this Wellness and Weight Loss Wednesday. We're going to be discussing, are you glycogen depleted? Now you might be saying, I have no idea what glycogen is. I don't know what it feels like to even have glycogen in my body. What does it mean to be depleted? All right, we'll answer all of those questions today. They are actually important questions, and we started to touch on this topic just last week. So what I'd love to be able to do is give you the education in essentially what I consider to be bite-sized chunks so that you can digest it, then you can begin to learn a little bit more about it, implement it in your life, and then we add on the next layer. So last week we went over using exercise to block body fat storage. And why I think that this is important, and I should probably put the word body fat in there, is that we have to understand is that the human body does not store excess body fat for no rhyme or reason. I mean, like, that's it. Like, people always talk about, well, eating more calories than you burn. Well, yeah, that's true to a certain degree. There's no doubt about that. That's a very simplistic way of looking at it. So, okay, well, how do you burn more calories? Well, you can just give more energy output, not just with exercise, but physical stress in the body. So believe it or not, sauna burns basically just as many calories as doing cardio. It's a fantastic way to burn calories at the same time. Now, again, I'm a huge advocate of doing some cardio, not long distance cardio. But again, there are different levels to this. There's also hormonal based issues that lowers your body's metabolism, and that causes you to gain more body fat because you can't eat as many calories, right? So there's different levels to it. But when we're talking about glycogen, we're basically talking about stored glucose, which is sugar in the body. So a lot of people say, well, that's why I don't eat a lot of carbohydrates. And again, that's I think a simplistic way of looking at it, taught to us by the general media and like low-level nutrition advice. And I'm not putting anybody down at all, but, telling people that it's okay to eat 2 steaks a day, but they can't eat any carbohydrates is really not understanding how glycogen is even stored in the body. Because if you're on a higher protein diet and you're on a low carb diet, your body can very easily, like no problem at all, break down the amino acids in protein and be able to convert that with just a couple of other, we'll call it molecules, in order to make glucose, like for your body. So you can not eat any carbs if you want, but your body's going to use protein in order to make some carbs. That's why if you have enough protein in your diet, you're not going to get into ketosis as well. And I'm not saying ketosis should be the goal, but there's a whole lot of people saying they're on a keto-based diet when there's no way they're on a keto-based diet. Like, the only way they have ketones in their blood is if they're taking exogenous ketones. But we'll save that for another day as I basically knock all the bottles off my desk as we're recording here. So what I want to do is, again, I always want to provide you with a fair and balanced approach to health, nutrition, functional medicine, integrative health, etc. I just don't want you to believe that there's only one way of doing things. And in my opinion, it's way better to be able to eat carbohydrates in your life. Like, you can eat carbohydrates and not gain weight. You can eat carbohydrates and not have blood sugar crashes. You can eat carbohydrates and not have huge glucose spikes. Like, you can do all of those things. I do them in my life, and most of the people in my practice do the same thing. Now, do we use low carbohydrate diets? Yeah, we do. There's no doubt about it. The first 21 days of the functional medicine detox, lower carbohydrates. First 21 days of our fat loss system for weight loss, yeah, it's lower carbohydrates. But we gradually integrate those back in, because I don't know any humans. I mean, there are some humans online that say they don't eat any carbohydrates. They keep it below 25 grams per day. But I have never met any humans in real life that don't eventually eat carbohydrates again, right? So, like, I think we can just do this in a much more balanced and smart manner. But now, and I want to share with you today some actually symptoms of being too low in glycogen reserves and how you can manipulate that on purpose in order to be able to get to the ideal body weight, the ideal glucose levels, etc. All right, so let's dive into the show. As I shared with you, I'm just going to give you just a quick recap. My highest recommendation is if you're trying to burn body fat and eat carbohydrates at the same time, tune into episode 2498. All right, StephenCabral.com/2498. But I'll link up everything today at StephenCabral.com/2504. All right, so we just mentioned last week that if you are fasting, well, let's take it back one more step. Let me give you image here. So if you're watching this on video, then you can see I'm holding up my buddy Walter. This is my anatomical physiology-based model here. And you can see under the right side of this rib cage is this huge organ called the liver. All right, this liver gets basically first stab at storing glucose as glycogen. And it can store about 100 to 120 grams or so of glycogen, so glucose, inside of the liver. Then after that, the rest of it's stored somewhere around 300 to 400 more grams inside of the muscle tissue. So that's going to give you a little bit of a hint as to maybe some of the signs and symptoms you're feeling if you become glycogen depleted. So what happens is this: as we fast overnight, I mean, this is a true story for many Vata-based body types. They can already be totally depleted of glycogen. Like, that's the truth. When you look at my continuous glucose monitor, so like if you don't know what a continuous glucose monitor is, we'll link up that as well. StephenCabral.com/2504. We'll link up a podcast on using a CGM, continuous glucose monitor. And I absolutely, about an hour after waking, am already glycogen depleted, maybe an hour and a half on some days. And you can see it. You can see that my body will dip into the 50s, high 50s. And a lot of people say that that's great, totally normal. I disagree. It's a stress on the body, and it's a great stress on the body. Meaning, like, not great as in good, it's a hard stress in the body. Your body begins to produce more norepinephrine, adrenaline. You might say, well, that's great because it helps your immune system. No, only in the short term does it help your immune system. Really bad in the long term, right? It weakens immunity in the long term. It's because it's a huge stressor. And the other thing that it's going to do is it's going to start to break down muscle tissue. Well, most people want to be able to eat more food and have good strength to their body, want to keep their muscle mass, right? So I think we have to be careful with that. So many people can be glycogen depleted overnight. For me, it happens at about the 14-hour mark. Again, you just get to know your body, and you track your biometrics, and you track these things, and you know. So for me, well, I break my fast at 14 hours. Like, that's when I do it. I know that at that point, it is not advantageous to me, and I'll share the signs in just a moment, to continue to deplete glycogen. I'm good. Like, I've totally depleted my liver glycogen. It's not even a goal of mine, but it happens basically overnight. All right. With other people, let's say they wake up and they maybe, because you can become glycogen depleted in anywhere from 6 to 24 hours in terms of fasting. Some people may need up to 48 hours. That is true. There are some people that just don't tap into glucose reserves as well. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But the way to speed it up is that most people will deplete their liver glycogen reserves in about 30 to 60 minutes of a high intensity interval training, or what's called the Metcon workout or sprint interval training, something like that, right? Where you're really pushing the body. 90 minutes at the upper limit. So 30 minutes to 90 minutes, most people, the sweet spot for total liver depletion of glycogen is around the 60-minute mark. I shared that last week. I kind of go through how to do that if that's advantageous to you. Again, if you're trying to deplete glucose levels for a specific reason, meaning you're trying to activate ketones or ketosis in the body, or you're trying to tap into more body fat, again, that's all depends on the level of stress that you're in. And so that last point is level of stress. Stress can deplete glycogen, meaning when you're in fight or flight, your body's producing cortisol. Sometimes we forget cortisol is actually called a glucocorticoid, right? So glucocorticoid is basically just a hormone that's signaling the brain, the hypothalamus and pituitary gland, to produce more glucose in the body, right? Like, that's really it. So how does it get glucose? Well, from food. Either it's already in your bloodstream from eating, or you're breaking down liver glycogen, or then you're breaking down muscle tissue for stored muscle glycogen, or you're breaking down proteins in terms of what's called gluconeogenesis. All right. We don't have to get that deep in that. Just understand that, believe it or not, like chess players, high-end chess. I do enjoy chess. I'm one of those strange individuals. I'll even watch a chess match. But they're the top level. They are burning up to 1,000 calories per hour, and they're seated, right? The mental stress, focus, and concentration is burning hundreds, if not up to 1,000 calories per hour. It's pretty wild. So just understand that stress can deplete you of liver glycogen as well. All right. So what does it look like when you are becoming depleted of glycogen? You might be going a little bit low blood sugar, but I'm really talking about more chronic liver glycogen depletion. All right. So you're someone that's purposely on a low carb diet, or you're doing maybe more than 12 to 16 hours of intermittent fasting daily, or you're doing like the first 2 days of the functional medicine detox, like all these different things. But again, it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means, okay, you choose to do it on purpose, right? So like when I do my 7-day functional medicine detox that I'll be doing this coming January 9th, I'm purposely depleting liver glycogen. But I'm also purposely not doing high intensity interval training on the same day, right? I can do a lighter workout. That's okay. But I just have to understand I'm going to become liver glycogen depleted on purpose so my body can get into a deeper level of autophagy. And I'm just not going to then push it too hard in terms of stress output, right, on those first 2 days. Okay. So the 6 main signs are this. The first one, and I absolutely, get a lot of these, not all of them, but a lot. The first one I definitely get, and that's decreased strength. So let's say that I'm going to do a workout. If I have not, and that's why a lot of people, I'm holding up my smoothie here in video. If you see this, I've got this nice glass container with this little silicone sleeve. I've been bringing this to the gym, even though the gym says no glass. I've been kind of like sneaking this in here so that I don't have to I use a plant-based recyclable cup, but I've been just trying to use a reusable one more and more, and they haven't said anything, so I'm just going to keep pushing that envelope there and just use that one. But I bring a smoothie to the gym. Now, this works for me. I'm not looking to lose weight, and my strength is dramatically enhanced when I'm drinking what's called peri-workout smoothie. And it kind of counts as my post because I drink it through the end of the workout. But if I don't eat anything for like, let's say 3 hours, 4 hours before my workout, a lot of people do this, and I actually recommend it if you're looking to burn body fat. For people that aren't more of that Vata body type, ectomorph body type, mesomorph, etc., may feel nothing. For other people, again, this is why bioindividuality matters. There we go, third try. You can feel weak. You can feel like you have a lack of overall strength. And for those people, they work really well with some carbohydrates. Do you need 100 carbohydrates for a shake? No. But a lot of people can do great. With me, I'm probably at like somewhere between 35 and 50 grams per shake. And again, it works well with my body. But again, I know my body. Okay. So that's the first sign. Have you been feeling weaker lately? General life, right? Or in the gym. The second one is that overall lethargy. So beyond the strength aspect to it, like, are you lifting less weights, right? Or like, again, I was a strength and conditioning specialist, personal trainer, et cetera, for many, many years. And it's not that I'm not today. I'm just not in the gym training people, right? I still study it. I still talk about it. I still teach it. But it's one thing to look for. Like, person's decreased strength. All right, well, how has their diet changed? Or are they on a detox? Or are they fasting? Yeah, it's going to change. Don't go for a personal best, right? Don't go for a PR that day. General lethargy. Again, you want to look for this in your clients. Are you getting more and more tired? You're just generally more tired. All right, well, where are your carbohydrates at? What's your fasting look like? What's your exercise output? Like, if you go low carb, you fast longer, and you put more exercise out, it's a recipe for disaster over time. It really is. Again, in your 20s, you can get away with anything. But once you start getting into your 40s and beyond, it's a different game. Your body just does not recover to the same way. And I like to share that with people. Okay, the next one, and this kind of, I think a lot of people who exercise will get this a little bit more with weights, not just cardio. But when you exercise, your muscles feel more full. They have not just the pump to them, they have a little bit more, and I'm using this in air quotes for all the personal trainers and fitness pros out there. They feel more full, more toned, less flat, right? So when your body kind of looks more flat, the muscles don't feel and look as toned. Again, that's in air quotes. Sometimes it's because, again, keep in mind, your muscles are about 70%, 72% water. Okay, so like the vast majority of your muscle tissue is water, right? The tissue itself isn't, but it holds water, in the sarcoplasm, right? So what does that mean? Well, your body will hold more water in the muscles if there's more glycogen. And that matters. Again, so if you are looking for more of that tone, pump, et cetera, less flatness of the muscles, some carbohydrates and not total glycogen depletion might be something to look at. Again, I'm just giving you this just to think about, like what's going to work for you. All right, this is an important one as well, and that is a lot of water loss, and also known as, I would say, weight, but it's water loss overnight. So like, let me give you an example. Let's say that you go to bed and you weigh 165 pounds, and you wake up in the morning and you weigh 160 pounds. Okay, that's over 3%, right? Yeah, that's almost 4%, almost, but not quite, of your body weight lost overnight. All right, either you're sweating a lot, that's one possibility, or your body is becoming quite depleted in terms of glycogen and you're not holding on to as much water. So if there's like a big fluctuation, but let's give you another way to look at it. If there is not, let's say that you weigh yourself at 6 p.m. at night, and then you weigh yourself again the next morning at 6, 7 a.m., whatever it is when you wake up. Okay. So let's say that there's not a lot of change between your AM weigh-in and your PM weigh-in. You're most likely not then holding a lot of glycogen, or you're always maxed out in glycogen. That's the way to look at it, because that means that there's no water retention. Carbohydrates, and we'll say AKA glucose, which gets converted to glycogen, fills up your stores first before going to body fat, right? That's why you can figure out how much you need. That's going to hold a certain amount of water. That is not inflammatory water weight. That's not toxic water weight like I've talked about before, right? That's not bad water weight. Why don't I link that up today as well? A podcast on toxic water weight that goes back in the day. I'd love you to check out that as well. All these shows and takeaways are at stephencabral.com/2504 today. All right. So that matters. Like if there's no weight change from first thing in the morning to the evening, you probably are depleted. There should be 1%, 2% in body weight change of your body now building back up its glycogen stores. That's not bad. When you see like 4%, that's quite a bit, right? That can be bloating, inflammation throughout the day, food sensitivities, et cetera. And I think that's important to look at as well, but I go over toxic water weight on that previous episode as well. All right, let's go over another one, and that is poor recovery from weight workouts. Not cardio, because you can actually be in a more aerobic zone where you're tapping more into body fat rather than glycogen. Now, you're still using some glucose. There's no doubt about it. You're even when you're sleeping, where you're in your most aerobic-based zone, basically you're burning predominantly body fat, there's still some glycogen being used. And I kind of shared that is what happens overnight. But when you are in more of that 50 to 70% range in terms of your heart rate, you're going to be burning a little bit more percentage of body fat. Now, I know, again, I'm not going to get into metabolic rate and how you actually burn more body fat if you stay at a higher range doing Metcon workouts or high-intensity interval training. I've talked about that on many, many podcasts. But nevertheless, you burn a greater percentage of body fat, right? So you're kind of sparing some of your glucose, all right? But if you do weight workouts and you're doing more anaerobic workouts, even a pool swim could be considered a hybrid, sprinting, et cetera, spin class, you're going to burn a lot more glucose, all right? So what happens is, though, if you don't have the reserves and you do produce more cortisol, you produce more norepinephrine, these types of things, you can over time really stress the body, and you're not giving it its proper nutrients that it needs to repair, because your body does need glucose to repair from weight workouts. I don't know if anybody's telling you opposite. It's just not, that's not how the human body works physiologically. You're going to make the glucose no matter what. Your body will die without glucose. You can't really drop below a 50, 55 on a glucometer. You can't. You're going to start to pass out. So your body won't let you do that in most cases. Again, diabetics is a little bit different of a story, but your body's going to work with a natural HPA axis, your pancreas, etc., to be able to regulate your glucose levels. And if it has to, it'll break down muscle tissue in order to make that happen. All right. So we don't want that, right? We want good recovery from workouts. So we need a certain amount of carbs and then protein and fat as well. All right. One more I wanted to share with you because I have seen this as well. It's not for everyone, but as you become glycogen depleted, you can become more moody. You can become a little bit not just brain fog. Yes, brain fog is a part of it, difficulty concentrating, but overall just like more irritable. That's the word I'm looking for, more irritable. So if you find yourself becoming more irritable, maybe between meals or maybe like a little later in the morning if you've been doing a longer fast or after your workout, please keep in mind it could simply be from lowered blood sugar levels or glycogen depletion. Something to look at. Again, maybe you're going for this. It could be very specific and then you just are aware of it and you're like, all right, yeah, I'm a little bit more moody and irritable because I haven't eaten carbs or I'm glycogen depleted because I'm doing a longer fast for autophagy or I'm doing a functional medicine detox or whatever it might be. Again, if there's a purpose and you understand it, great, then fantastic. Work with it, go with it. But if not, for everyday life, you just have to think about, do I need to be glycogen depleted all the time in order to achieve my goals? My answer is no, I haven't seen it happen. And I think most people can do really well on a much more balanced nutrition plan, finding the right amount of carbohydrates for them on a daily basis. Hopefully today's show was helpful. If it was, please do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve. Thanks, everybody. Have an amazing day. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only two ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.